Mr. President, may it please you to know that this year's celebration was meant to take place in northern Uganda. And if I'm right, particularly in Kitgum. So for the viewers out there and the people in Kitgum, please enjoy watching the International Youth Day at home, stay safe and stay home. Mr. President, I wish to commend now your exemplary relations with international relations and cooperation with the development partners that is unprecedented and was evidenced by the several international activities that we had prior to the COVID. Mr. President, I was tasked by the Honorable Frank Tumwebaze to coordinate and make arrangements with the UNDP and Stanbic Bank to ensure that the youth who are hard hit before, during, and COVID can access livelihood funds that complement your own programs that you had already put in place, namely the Youth Livelihood Program, the UWEP, the talent promotion, the skilling, and extra. So, Mr. President, allow me, therefore, to invite the UN Resident Coordinator to address this gathering this morning and unveil the program also on behalf of the UNDP. I thank you, Mr. President.
Good afternoon, everyone. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Your Excellency, the First Lady and Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, the Right Honorable First Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, the Honorable Ministers and Ministers of State present, particularly the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, the members of Parliament present, the National Youth Council, to our colleagues online, development partners, United Nations staff, ladies and gentlemen, the youth, all protocols observed. On behalf of the United Nations system in Uganda, I am pleased to join you today at the national commemoration of the International Youth Day. For after all, Uganda is the world's second youngest nation on earth. This year's Youth Day occurs as the lives and aspirations of young people and their families continue to be affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The United Nations in Uganda has carried out a socioeconomic analysis of the COVID-19 impact, which has revealed that up to 60% of informal enterprises have stopped their operations or moved below the poverty level. This is denying income to between 5 and 6 million informal workers, most of whom are young men and women. Yet we have hope that if we work together, we can manage this new threat and find solutions that are sustainable, inclusive, and culturally relevant. Late President Samora Machel once said, I quote, "International solidarity is not an act of charity. It is an act of unity between allies fighting on different terrains towards the same objective. The foremost of these objectives is to aid the development of humanity to the highest levels possible." End quote. Ladies and gentlemen, a close reflection of these words can be considered a precursor of the current Agenda 2030 and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which aim to achieve shared prosperity for all people by protecting the planet, promoting prosperity, and sustaining transformational partnerships. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight some of the UN initiatives which are supporting the youth in Uganda. First is the Innovation Program for Young People, taking charge of social change by UNFPA. Under this program, 7 social entrepreneurial startups were launched in 2019, including BabyKit, a team that is using affordable and locally made materials to develop infant warmers to help mothers in refugee settlements who have given birth to premature or at-risk babies. I also want to highlight the InfoPic company, which has created an interactive voice response system that helps women of childbearing age easily access family planning services. And then there is UNICEF, who has trained young people across the country in communication, digital storytelling, photography, videography. The aim is to enable young people to use these skills to voice their concerns and share solutions. UNICEF is working with these young people to co-create content because they understand the issues that affect them and their community much better. We also have the Strengthening Social Cohesion and Stability Project from the UN Migration Agency, IOM, who, working with partners, have provided vocational training to 1,000 youth. They've also provided small business startup capital for 644 youth. And they are currently training and providing logistical support to the Uganda Police Force to help improve community policing, which includes several youth. They are working also on messaging to discourage gender-based violence, and are working with youth in the slums who reached out to IOM for support to produce face masks to help fight COVID-19, such as the one I'm wearing today. We are supporting these youth to have access to partners. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure stronger synergies and complementarities between the various UN youth initiatives, I'm happy to mention that the youth whose ideas will be selected under the 1 Million SDG Solutions Innovation Challenge can benefit from facilities being made available by UNDP, UNCDF, UN Women, and other members of the UN country team. The Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, for example, is led by UN Women. It skills, coaches, and mentors young women so that they can run businesses in a profitable and sustainable way. UNCDF, through the SDG Fund for Digital Innovation, will provide seed capital and grants to top innovations by the youth. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, allow me to highlight the UNDP Stand Back Uganda Youth for Business Innovation Entrepreneurship Facility, which will be launched today. This innovation was created to enable youth and businesses pilot innovative enterprise ideas or new ways of delivering their services. The facility seeks to provide flexible funding mechanisms that will stimulate faster recovery of micro, small, and medium enterprises that have borne the brunt of the impact of COVID-19. They also seek to support the creation of at least 20,000 new decent jobs for the youth, ensure skilling of 50,000 youth to increase the entrepreneurial success rate, and it is the prayer that the influence and multiplier effect will be the creation of over 100,000 indirect jobs. Your Excellency, this facility has made available an initial 10 million grant and up to 200 million for concessional loans below market rates for the youth. I want to use the opportunity to encourage the youth across the country to apply at www.undp.org. I wish to thank you, Your Excellency, for launching this contributing initiative from the UN family today, and by doing so, acknowledging our contribution to sustainable development and job creation for the youth. At this moment, Your Excellency, allow me to take a short break in my presentation to invite the UNDP resident representative and the Stanbic CEO to greet you and in a few words tell you why this innovation is so important, and then I will conclude my remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Resident Coordinator. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Her Excellency, the First Lady, all the distinguished cabinet ministers and government officials, and may I particularly recognize Honorable Tumwebazi and Honorable Nachiwala, the UN Resident Coordinator, thank you again, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the youth, the media, ladies and gentlemen, let me stand on existing protocols that the Resident Coordinator already talked about. On behalf of the United Nations Development Programme and indeed Stanbic Partnership, I would like to extend sincere appreciation for the humbling opportunity to join you here today. I also take this chance to warmly appreciate all the youth gathered here and those who are watching all over Uganda to say you are Uganda's greatest asset. You are Africa's greatest asset. You are the future, and we celebrate you today. Permit me to also join the Resident Coordinator and Stanbic Uganda to congratulate the government and the people of Uganda for the remarkable human, social, and economic-wide progress the country has achieved under your leadership, including commitment towards attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Your Excellency, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Youth for Business, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship Facility, which the Resident Coordinator already alluded to. It is an innovation instrument developed by UNDP in partnership with Stanbic Uganda Holdings Limited to promote impact-driven entrepreneurship, foster innovation, and leverage business solutions to address youth unemployment challenges. I'd like to appreciate the partnership we have with Anjuko, the Chief Executive of Stanbic Bank, and for the partnership we have on this. Your Excellency, we work very closely with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and the Ministry of Trade and Industry in the development of the facility. And once again, permit me to recognize Honorable Tumwebazi, Honorable Amelia Chambade, and Honorable Nachiwala. It is part of our joint efforts to support the government of Uganda's commitment to deliver on the promise of 2030 agenda to end poverty, eliminate inequality and social exclusion, as well as tackle climate change. Importantly, as the youth person said, a number of youth people lost their businesses during COVID, so this facility is really to help them build forward better. The Resident Coordinator has already talked about what we are trying to achieve, to create about 20,000 new and decent jobs, 50,000 youth to be retooled and reskilled, and 100,000, again, indirect jobs. We are providing the 10 million of grant resources and 200 million of loan resources, but again, this is going to be given to young people below the market rate. So in effect, if the banks are giving 15%, Stanbic is going to give below that. And we're also encouraging other financial institutions to join us. Your Excellency, the Youth for Business, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Facility consists of 3 separate but mutually linked windows. The first is the Innovation Challenge Fund and Growth Accelerator. This provides competitive matching grant awards to spur impact-driven innovation by youth. And here, the winners get up to $40,000 in grant resources. The second window is the Enterprise Challenge Fund, which provides competitive blended finance, again combining grant awards and concessional debt finance from partner financial institutions to micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises. The third is the Youth Entrepreneurship and Innovation Ecosystem Platform, which will revitalize youth networks such as the Youth Connect, circles, in order to collectively identify and tackle systemic issues impeding the socio-economic empowerment of young people. Your Excellency, the novelty about this facility is that we are not only giving funds or grants. For 2 years, Stanbic Business Incubator and UNDP Accelerator Lab will mentor young people on different business ideas, corporate governance, training, and capacity building to make sure that they can succeed. Your Excellency, following a highly competitive process, I invite you to join us in congratulating 2 youth-owned enterprises that have been awarded $40,000 each from the Youth for Business Facility Innovation Challenge Fund. They include Quest Digital Finance Limited and Chap Chap Africa Limited. We congratulate the young youth who are behind these exciting enterprises and have used digital and mobile technology to provide solutions that seek to impact small businesses and create and improve livelihoods of young people in various sectors, particularly in the agriculture sector. On this International Youth Day, we celebrate these two enterprises as symbolic of the energy, the creativity, and the ambition of the youth in Uganda. And as UNDP and Stanbic, we commit to working hand in hand with youth enterprises and with your government to deliver a bright and prosperous future for the youth of Uganda. I encourage interested youth again to visit UNDP and Stanbic websites for more information. Your Excellency, please allow me to conclude with my own story. I grew up in the ghettos of Accra. I was brought up by a single mother. I live in a poor compound where youth were socialized with very restricted expectations of themselves. I was determined to make it. I believed in myself, and society believed in me and invested in me. I am an embodiment of youth empowerment, and I'm glad we can join hands with you to support the youth and youth empowerment initiatives. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'd like to invite the UN Resident Coordinator again to finish her speech.
Thank you. Testimonies from women empowerment, Mr. President, which we know you support, so thank you so much. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, last week I had the honor and privilege to lead a delegation to southwestern Uganda. The first objective of the mission was to visit UN frontline staff and partners implementing critical humanitarian and development programs in conformity with the COVID-19 preventive and response measures. Local government representatives, the youth, parents, teachers, and refugees all conveyed their appreciation for the government's ability to protect them, create an enabling environment, as well as the successful implementation of the programs we are implementing to deal with the impact of COVID-19. They shared with me some concerns and recommendations, some of which I have shared with the Honorable Minister of Education and Sports and First Lady yesterday. Thank you, Mama. I would like to take this opportunity to convey our profound appreciation to you, Mr. President, and to your government and your leadership in the COVID-19 response. Congratulations. Your leadership has helped us to stay safe. I also want to use the opportunity to thank all the health workers that I saw and did not see, all the humanitarian workers that I saw who are committed to saving lives and supporting livelihoods, many of them without having seen their families for months. Mr. President, the second objective of our mission was to engage the youth. I took with me several youth as part of my delegation, and we visited youth initiatives promoting the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. We encourage youth to take part in the 1 Million Solutions Challenge as part of the UN 75th anniversary. This innovation challenge aims to identify youth who have viable solutions to address poverty, environment protection, value addition, and unemployment, so they can be supported by the private sector and the UN, such as the example we are seeing today. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we met youth engaged in agribusiness, bamboo production for wetlands conservation, production of sanitizers and cleaning detergents, shoemaking, and even teaching. We witnessed the launch of the Mbarara Innovation and Skilling Center at Ankole Garden Mall, and we listened to youth determined to work to achieve the future we need. They are actively thinking of how to create a better world today for the next generations. This younger generation, which makes up more than 70% of the population of this country, are already contributing to national development. It is an honor to note that at this moment, as we stand here, hundreds of youth have already submitted their ideas to the 1 Million Youth SDG Solutions Innovation Challenge website, at www.ugandayouthsolutions.com. We are inviting partners to join the panel of judges who can identify youth who will benefit from skilling, training, or financial support. This challenge will basically provide a database of youth who are ready to join the workforce as entrepreneurs, innovators, or professionals. We look forward to having you launch this initiative, and we humbly request that some of the youth who can be identified be allowed to benefit from government programs such as those highlighted by the Honorable Minister of State and the Rwenzori agri-led industrialization. Mr. President, it is my honor to note that we have completed the publication of the profiles of the exhibitors from the Rwenzori Expo, and I can actually showcase it here, it is. And we've noted that several of them in the agribusiness are actually young people. We will hand over a copy to your office after today. We look forward to your support to proceed with the critical infrastructure in the Rwenzori region, including the Semuliki Bridge and the upgrade of the Kasese to an international airport. As I conclude, please join me in recognizing this generation of youth who are resilient, resourceful, and engaged. Mr. President, personally, I can confirm I have met them in Moroto, Arua, Mbale, Isinjiro, Kisoro, Gulu, Mbarara, and even Kampala, to mention a few locations. Uganda's youth are truly torchbearers of the Sustainable Development Goals. And as this year's Youth Day focuses on youth engagement for global action, it comes at a time that we are commemorating the 75th anniversary of the UN, but Uganda is celebrating 58 years of both independence and being a member of the United Nations. The UN Charter invites every nation to pursue your own development journey, informed by universal values of respect, dignity, and non-discrimination. The 2030 Agenda invites member states to pursue an inclusive approach to sustaining peace and development. It is thus my honor to conclude, on behalf of the United Nations system, by reiterating our commitment to support the government and people of Uganda on your development journey. Mr. President, our new UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework 2021-2025 outlines our commitment to support the implementation of the National Development Plan 3 and your vision to attain prosperity for all by 2040. We look forward to having you launch it soon, and I wish to conclude with a quote from Julius Nyerere. Quote, "Everybody wants development, but not everybody understands and accepts the basic requirements for development. The biggest requirement is hard work." End of quote. I am confident that if given the chance, Uganda's youth will put in the hard work and contribute to achieving the modern and stable Uganda that you want and Africa needs. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Resident Coordinator, thank you. And thank you for helping out with the children. She just gave birth to a Ugandan boy just a couple of months ago through adoption. And I officiated over the baptism just a few weeks ago. Thank you for leaving no one behind. Mr. President, since we are taking stock today, we have to think about the adolescent girl. And I wish to thank here and now the First Lady, Mama Janet Museveni, for annually being there for the adolescent girl and organizing the Day of the Adolescent Girl annually. And she takes time to sit with them and shares with them her adolescent time. One time she said, and I have this to quote, she said that in the olden times, they would give them a card, a placard, showing that now you're an adolescent, you are safe, you must produce this card at marriage time, showing that you're still safe. So it was exciting in northern Uganda when she did that. Thank you, Mama. Thank you very much. The effort of that today was kindly reducing the rates at which the girls are being married and raped. Today, Mr. President, we have 4,000 girls and women who have been raped during the COVID time in Uganda. So, Mr. President, I wish to announce now to the people viewing us that rape is punishable by life imprisonment. So may it go to all the people watching us today that forget about the young girl, forget about the women. So together we can ensure that we have a productive generation for the country Uganda. Mr. President, allow us to proceed to the second last item on the agenda, Mr. President, which is none other than having a situational analysis of the overall status of the youth interventions in the country, and also providing citation for the handover of the Youth Livelihood Program checks, as well as a request to you, Mr. President, to address the gathering done by none other than the Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, the Minister for Labor, Gender, Labor and Social Development in Uganda. Honorable Frank.
Thank you, Florence. Honorable Florence. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Honorable Mama Janet Museveni, the First Lady, the Right Honorable General Ali, the Deputy Prime Minister, Her Excellencies, the UN reps led by Madame Malango, Honorable Members of Parliament, the youth MPs, the youth leaders in your respective capacities, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I want to thank you for finding time to this ceremony, less busy and not so much because of the situation we are in. The theme for this day is youth engagement for global action. Your Excellency, this theme is very relevant to you in particular because you engaged all of us to where we are. And I think the youth leaders, we should thank the President for that. There is no other empowerment other than orientation and proper mindset empowerment. Personally, I remember in 1992 when I was in Senior 3, we waited for you at Kacheka Stadium. You came to tell us about HIV/AIDS. We were there I think about so many schools. But of course, we were from the village schools, we had few numbers. And Taranbar High School were there beating us, they denied us space in the pavilion, but we were there on the periphery of the stadium until you came. And it were your bodyguards who stopped those Barra High School people from beating us more. And when you came, you really taught us. And when you asked questions, we, the village schools, would put up hands and they would beat us from behind. So the youth of today don't behave like those ones of Barra High School then. But that's aside. But even after then, Your Excellency, your engagement with young people. I remember in 1999, when I was finishing university as a student leader, we met you with colleagues, and you told us that for you and your colleagues during your youth days, you led the struggle to liberate Uganda. So you told us, your work, go and do positive advocacy for the NRM values. And Your Excellency, we've lived up to that, and all of these leaders standing for that. Your Excellency, today, as we commemorate the Youth Day, it also coincides with our last term as the NRM government of our manifesto. So allow me briefly to report to you and the country how our manifesto has performed in terms of the youth programs. Your Excellency, with your support, in the year 2014, Cabinet approved the Youth Livelihood Program. To date, 20,361 youth projects have benefited from government money, direct support, of course, which is a revolving fund, and this has directly benefited 244,045 youth, of whom 46% are female, and the total financing stands at 162 billion Uganda shillings. I think the youth leaders clap for the NRM government. And this is strictly for the youth. Similarly, under the Women Fund, a tune of 107 billion has been disbursed to 11,256 projects of the women, benefiting directly 139,825 women. Under the Youth Venture Capital Fund, 45,367 youth entrepreneurs have accessed up to Uganda shillings 146 billion. This is for this journey of this term so far. Through these funds, Your Excellency, the youth and women have been able to create self-employment opportunities and enhance their incomes. The ripple effect of these interventions is also being felt within the economy through tax contributions, promote of import substitution, and enhanced economic activities. And this is not to mention, sir, your other direct interventions from your office and from other programs. The Youth Livelihood Support Program, Your Excellency, in particular, is a revolving fund. It was not designed to be a donation fund, it's a revolving fund. And I'm glad that to date, the youth have repaid a total of 37 billion, and of which the ministry has already replowed 9.2 billion to finance 11,463 youth under 1,090 group projects. This process is continuous and more projects are underway for financing. The checks you will give out today, the beneficiary districts have been represented by Arua and Serere. It's not new money from the budget, sir. It's money paid back under the Youth Livelihood Program. Now that's testimony that the program is a success. If people were not being able to make profit out of their enterprises, they wouldn't have been able to pay back. Your Excellency, this month, sorry, they're telling me to put back the mask. Okay, I will try and see how it goes. This month of August 2020, the ministry is disbursing 1.93 billion of the funds repaid by the beneficiaries. And these funds will benefit 2,236 youth under 203 group projects in 26 local governments across the country. These include Amuria, Arua, Buweju, Buyende, Dokolo, Kabiramaido, Kalungu, Kamuli, Kanungu, Kayunga, Chegegwa, Mayuge, Mbarara, Nebi, Ngora, Ntungamo, Palisa, Rwampara, Serere, Bushenyi Shaka Municipality, Ibanda Municipality, Kasese Municipality, Mbara Municipality, Moroto Municipality, Ntungamo Municipality, and Rukunjiri Municipality. And because of the COVID SOPs, Your Excellency, we couldn't bring all of these cows. So Arua and Serere were selected. Where are the cows? You can stand up for recognition. They are here to represent these beneficiary districts. Arua today will be given a check of 252,560 million for 368 youth under 32 projects. Serere district will get 176,880,000 for 215 youth under 21 projects. Your Excellency, that's how the Youth Livelihood Program has performed, and we believe it's one of the few programs of government that has managed not to destroy or eat the seed. The seed has been able to germinate and reproduce, unlike many other programs we started with. Your Excellency, we are not talking about the sage, because we will talk that later on the day of the elderly and the disability, but it is also moving on well. It now covers all the elderly people from 80 years and above. The only request is that we move slightly below 80, but Cabinet will look at that, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the Ministry of Gender has also strengthened and tried to formalize the externalization of labor to ensure that our young people who travel abroad by choice are safe. The safety of migrant workers in their destination countries is of concern not only to us as a government, but internationally. And that's why we are collaborating with the International Organization of Migration, of which I'm very grateful, to ensure that where Uganda or any other country has no consular presence in any other country, IOM is able to support our workers in distress. But I must note that these young people, especially from the Gulf alone, they've been bringing in $600 million. but in total, it almost approaches 2 billion. We are able to streamline this framework by making sure that companies that take these young people are accountable and they take them through gazetted and known means. We still, however, have a challenge of child trafficking and unskilled workers, especially the maids, moving out through illegal means. And these are the most affected people because follow-up is not easy. The ministry has stepped up measures to ensure that the process of externalization of labor for those interested in seeking employment opportunities abroad is orderly, safe, and accountable. The ministry is working with other agencies, internal affairs, foreign affairs, Interpol, to address the affected challenges. And soon we shall be coming to Cabinet with proposals on how to reform the whole framework. Your Excellency, we would like also to inform you that some labor recruitment companies that were involved in malpractices, especially of cheating the innocent youth, we have revoked their licenses and asked the police to investigate and prosecute those ones we have identified. Your Excellency, with your guidance and directive, the Ministry of Gender is undertaking a mapping of the most vulnerable and informal sector workers because of COVID, such as teachers, employees of private education institutions, border borders, and others. We are working with the Ministry of Education, with Uganda Registration Service Bureau, with employers and workers unions. We shall come up with a list of these SMEs and we shall present them to Cabinet for appropriate discussion and guidance. I want to thank Your Excellency, the development partners, Madam Rosa Marango and her family, not personal family, but the UN family, for these initiatives. These initiatives, Your Excellency, of supporting knowledge products is testimony that our government initiatives of developing a very promising ecosystem. You may remember, sir, that last year in December, we invited you under the Ministry of ICT to launch a number of exhibitors of young people who had very, very good ideas. And through the Ministry of ICT, you put in a fund of 15 billion every year. We now have apps on the market innovated by our people. So I want to thank the UN family for bringing in this support to ensure that the digital revolution is dominated by our own applications, so that we don't only become net consumers of other people's products. And Your Excellency, I want to thank you in your instructions to the manifesto committee that our manifesto should be driven and should be anchored on innovation and science. It is very clear that the future will be driven by knowledge products. That's why the talk world over is knowledge economy. It is knowledge products through innovation that will sustain agriculture, that will sustain other sectors of the economy. Your Excellency, I wish to conclude by thanking the youth leaders. Thank you, Madam Lillian. The brief time I have worked with you, the youth MPs, and all the other unions, the workers, you've been very, very cooperative and focused. Though for me, I'm no longer youth, but I can see you have repressed us very well. And I want to thank also Shaftanas also to add on my word. Your Excellency used to look after us very well whenever we would come from our universities. And he has no transport to fund. It was a tough time for him. So he would make sure we travel back safely to our universities for him to avoid. So he's a senior youth person, and the youth are fond of him very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's now my pleasure to invite you to speak to this audience, and thereafter to witness the handover of the checks and to sign the Youth for Business Innovation, a facility being launched by UNDP and Stanbic. You're welcome, sir.
Sit down, sit down. The Right Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, the ministers, the MPs, the youth leaders, the UN, the UN diplomats. What I keep telling you is that the problem of Uganda, maybe even other African countries, is an organic problem. It's not just isolated. You must take the whole society together. The starting point is kulambala. Kulambala is a Soga word, meaning to sleep. And in Acholi, we call it Nino, Nino Matek. This is what I saw, 1959, when I came from my village, which was sleeping, Tumbarara, for the first time. You found people there living the traditional way, growing food and eating it, not understanding how to make money. This was the big problem for the whole population. Sleeping. The Bagwere, they have a very, very nice version of Bantu. They call it Okukorera Ekida Kyonka. I love that Bantu version. You know, these Bantu dialects and the Nilotic dialects, they are the same, but somebody brings something in a slightly different way. So the Bagwere say, Okukorera Ekida Kyonka. Only working for the big stomach. For them, they don't say stomach no more. They say Ekida. So this is the biggest problem, which you must address, you as leaders. I had a better saying that you are now graduating from youth leaders. You are going to be other leaders. Yes, that's good, but I would also like you to be wealth creators. Because I don't like leaders who have no wealth. Because what are you going to lead? Because when you lead, you speak for something. I speak for traders because I am a trader. That's why I'm a leader. I speak for the farmers because I am a farmer. And I'm a leader who knows about farming, so I come to speak about farming. I speak for manufacturers because I'm a manufacturer. But you are doing nothing, and you say you are leading. Leading where? What are you? What are you saying? What are you saying? Because we are talking about society, how society should live. So what objurisy, what testimony do you have for other people? What problems are you bringing? So the starting point is waking up the people near you, your family, because that's what I did when I was, even before I was a youth, when I was a teenager, that's what I started doing. Starting with my family to wake them up using what I saw in Mbarara, the government stock farm, because there was a government stock farm there, which was doing things in a modern way. But we, in Ntungamo, only 40 miles away, we didn't know. We were doing things in our old ways. But there was a government farm there. Examples were there. But there was nobody to connect the examples with us. Because I knew everybody, I knew all the households. I never heard of anybody who was copying what the government experimental farm was doing in Mbarara. So this is problem number one. Now, according to the census of 2014, they pointed out again that 68% of the homesteads were still sleeping. Kulembera, Nino, that they were still okukolera ekidda kyonka. That's where the problem is. Youth, what? Youth of what? So stop just talking. A modern youth must take part in waking up. Don't mind my kachai banange. The modern youth must get involved in waking up your family first, your village, your area, and yourself. You yourself. This is what you must do. But that's what I did. When I came to Rajtura, 1967, after my A level, the idea was to buy that land, use it to educate those sleeping Banyankore. Sleeping, talking, what? People are going to the moon. America, you can imagine, 1968, Americans were going to the moon. But the Banyankore were kukorera ekidda kyonka. How can we have a like that? We are leaders, we are what? No. This is just a mockery. A leader of what? Or people who are sleeping. They should call you a co-sleeper. They shouldn't call you a leader, because you are people are sleeping, you are doing nothing. So really, this is the starting point. Where you come from, you start with your family. Those people wake up and stop. And the other time when I moved around, I gave you this booklet. All the leaders, I addressed all the leaders in the zones, and I gave them the booklet. The 4 sectors are there for money. Because you're talking about poverty. Poverty, the medicine for poverty is money. Those are the tablets. Tablets for poverty is money. That is the aspirin. Aspirin for poverty is money. And money, enough money. And you remember what we said? Stop okukorera ekidda kyonka. Does either commercial agriculture or industries, small and big, or services, the services have been hit by this virus because the services were borders, transport, restaurants, hair salon. Me, my hair salonist is Mama Janet. The other services is telephone. The telephones are under ICT or what? It can be both. So, then ICT. So therefore, you challenge the youth. Which address have you gone to? Or do you intend to go to? Do you want to go to commercial agriculture? Or do you want to go to small-scale industries? Or do you want to go to services? Or ICT? You can't just be there. I'm youth. Where are you going? Where do you want to go? And how can we help you? So those in commercial agriculture, in this booklet, on page 3, assuming that your family has only 4 acres,
weewaawo omukulembeze w'eggwanga bw'atyo ng'ali wali Entebbe ku State House ng'agezaako okunnyonnyola ate ku lunaku lw'abavubuka. Okwogera kwe kubadde kukyagenda maaso naye era nga annyonnyola ebimu ku birina okukolebwa okulaba nti omuvubuka obwavu osobola okubulwanyisa. Tunnyonnyodde ebintu bina era kyagenda maaso okutunnyonnyola. Njagala nkuzeeyo tusigale nga tugoberera nja kubanguwa oluvannyuma ng'amaliriza okwogera kwe.
So because of that, I said, okay, if you have already fragmented the land and you only have 4 acres, on page 3 there, I advised you. Then you do coffee, fruits, one of the food crops, zero grazing for cattle, for milk, poultry, pigs, and fish farming. That is agriculture. So there is money for NADS, Operational Wealth Creation, in the villages there. There is the youth fund, which Tumwebazi was talking about. There is the women fund. So please, access. Now we have added the other Emyoga fund. Emyoga is because even the ancient Banyankore were more organized than our people today. Because Umwoga, each one had Umwoga. Traditionally, you are either a cattle keeper or a crop person, or a blacksmith. If you are a blacksmith, they know that family, they are blacksmith. They do no other work, they concentrate on blacksmith. Other people grow food and bring it to them, and then they give them blacksmith products. That's what Umwoga means. That's why I brought that word, Umwoga. Umwoga is a specialization. Yeah. Blacksmith, or these ones of clay, making clay pots, or carpentry. All those were the specialization traditionally. But now you have somebody here, he has nothing, he's just there. And that's why we are saying, no, you must belong to or target to belong to one of the activities. And if it is agriculture, we have advised you how to handle it. Now, if you don't want to go into agriculture, then maybe, especially those who are educated, the school graduates, even if you did SWASWA or psychology, or you did a degree in Latin, you can imagine. Somebody can qualify in Latin, he speaks around sanctum sanctum. That was part of the problem of our Muslim children. Because some of these groups would take our Muslim children and teach them Arabic, only Arabic. So they come back, they have no jobs. So they would sit in the mosque, start talking, hoping for miracle wealth. And that's how many of them ended up joining ADF, that ADF group. It was those children who had no skill. The ADF is the terrorist group which is in Congo, which was joined mainly by our Muslim children because of that lack of skill of what to do. So whatever you did, whether you did SWASWA, whether you did Latin, whether you did Shakespeare, that Shakespeare said this, okay, thank you very much. You have remembered what Shakespeare said, but what are you going to eat? We now say, form, and that's where the youth, Nachiwara and Kasoro, the man of microfinance, they can form manufacturing associations. Like, for instance, there are some of the youth I have given maize mills. Okay, you have formed a group, I gave you a maize mill to produce maize flour, but also to produce animal feeds. Because we are importing animal feeds. We are putting animal feeds. And there's now too much maize. There's too much maize. Because you know, the Baganda say, adinga na maolo agajamo mukuto. But when you keep eating, they call it leftovers, but mahoro is good. Me, I like cold food. That when you keep eating it, eventually you get satisfied. So, because of talking, there is some limited ajo. Do we have an artist here? What is ajo? Sleeping? No, I mean waking up. Akwenyu is waking up. So there is now limited akwenyu. There is some limited akwenyu. Some of your people have woken up. It's not too much, but a little waking up. Now, that waking up has already generated a lot of products. Has generated a lot of coffee, 7 million bags. From 2 million bags. Fortunately for coffee, the external market is big, so we never get okudiba. We never get no buyers. They buy. But the youth should form association and add value to that coffee. Instead of the coffee just going as a raw material, they should add value to it. So these Swaswas, what, they can form a group and they come to Nachiwara and they say, we want to form a coffee roasting. Maybe you start with roasting, which may be easier. Later on, you can add other levels of processing. Because now the raw material is big, it's there now. Some of your people have woken up a bit. Some Akwenyu, some limited Akwenyu. Then you come to, so that by the time you cover all maize flour, both for local but also for export, animal feeds, for import substitution, but maybe also to export to other countries. How many people, how many youth will be employed, and how much money will they generate? Then you go to shoemaking. Shoemaking, I'm going to start an industry for leather tanning using the funds of Nachove, so that you have all the leather here, all the skins and hides of your cows. We are going to start at Kaumu processing leather, so that all the people who want to make shoes, you go and look at the imports. How much money are the shoes taking? And leather products. I haven't checked, but it's quite a bit of money. So that then some of the youth go into the shoemaking associations. You own it. You borrow money, those revolving funds, you borrow money, you use and pay back slowly to the revolving fund. Then you come to we attracted abattoirs, modern abattoirs here. People want factories. Actually, there's a factory on Ginger Road, Bombo Road. It's not working now because they built the abattoir to slaughter cows. The cows are there, but they are scattered. General Moses Ali, one of the rich people in Uganda, can supply, I don't know how many bulls in a year. And he's one of the big ones. Me, I'm not a very poor man. I can supply 2,000 bulls in a year. But the factory needs 400 bulls per day. So me, one of your richest people can only supply the factory for 5 days. So, very simple, but the cows are 14 million cows. If you multiply 400 bulls by 365 days, I think when I calculated it, it was 146,000 bulls in a year. For that factory, and with 14 million cows, normally you can slaughter 20% in a year. That's 2.8 million cows. So the cows actually are there, but they are not consolidated. They are not. Nobody has entered the business of gathering them. So that's why I have told some of the youth, do bull fattening. You can calculate it. If there are 4 abattoirs, one on Bombo Road, one I hear the Chinese are building another one in Shara. The Iranians were also talking about another one. Even if there were 3 or 4 abattoirs, how many groups of youth who can buy the bulls, fatten them, and then feed these factories. It will create quite a bit of jobs, but also solve a problem which is very easy to solve. So, to do with maize, bull fattening, then you get like cassava now. With Archbishop Odama, we are producing a lot of cassava in the north. So, what will happen to that cassava? To produce the flour, produce the starch from the cassava, produce the gas. That cassava can also produce gas for cooking. So that line, you take it. How many activities do we need out of cassava? And so on. Then you have our people in the north are growing a lot of simsim. But I hear that you even import simsim to Japan. Can you imagine? Simsim goes as simsim to Japan. Because it's very nice, the oil is good. But why don't you get the oil out yourselves? The youth, they form an association. And we give them support to extract the oil from the simsim and export the oil. And even get byproducts out of the oil, because that oil must be producing something here, something there, something there. Then you go to furniture. Furniture. At one time they were importing even furniture from Dubai. Can you imagine? We in the forest were importing furniture from the desert. That shows you how clever the Africans are. Very clever people. I don't think there's anybody who's more clever than Africans. To find that people in the forest are buying from the ones in the desert, buying furniture. I had one of the people who was here, I quarreled with him. He bought this from China. Can you imagine? So you are all Chinese here. Carpets, what? So, let these school leavers, university leavers, these swaswas, and the psychology people, you now go and study the psychology of business. Because I asked somebody, say, you have studied psychology, what will you do? He said he will get a job in prisons. And he can look at prisoners and not the one who wants to escape. So then I said, but how many prisons do we have in Uganda? So how many psychologists can we employ? So please, this is the second line. The fish farming. I have done a fish pond at Kaumu. Fish ponds. I have got, my people have 4 fish ponds in 1 acre. And they tell me they are earning 68 million shillings from those 4 acres. There is a project by the Ministry of Environment in Limoto swamp in Parisa, Budaka. They are earning quite a bit of money. So all those rivers in Busoga, the swamps in Busoga, in Parisa, in Bukedi, in Teso, Lango is full of swamps. The Nairo Valley, that Nairo Valley. We can build big industries of fish farming by having fish ponds. So we have groups, like a group of 10 people, 10 youth, they own one fish, something, another one there, another one there, another one there. And the fish has got a big market abroad. It doesn't, it is in such big demand. In Japan, in America, they buy the fish. So please, the Nachiwara, now you plan for these people of yours to wake up and join. Because now if they join maize milling, that means they have gone to the sector of industry. If they go to vegetable oil extraction, shoemaking, that's now, fish farming is like agriculture. Fish farming, agriculture. So you can calculate how many, and when you make the fish ponds, you don't put them in the center of the swamp. You can actually persuade the people who are growing rice in the swamp to get out of the swamp. The youth, they do on the periphery of the swamp. They will get much more money than what they are getting from rice and mayuni, these yams, which are also destroying the environment. So please, let's get these youth to be involved in wealth creation, really, and we assist them. Now, politically, use your voice. I've seen the money, the Myoga 256 billion, which they put there, NADS 300 billion, Women Fund, this. If we need more money, you are in Parliament, mobilize and we demand more money from Parliament. Stop all this foreign travel where you squander a lot of money. COVID has helped me, none of you is traveling. And that's why the shilling is gaining. Because you have been squandering our dollars. Now you can't travel, the shilling, in spite of tourism stopping, in spite of the remittances from Ugandans not coming, but the shilling is gaining now. Why? Because you have stopped squandering the money. You are no longer traveling. So all that money, if we need more money for the youth, we can get it. We can get it. Demand it. And the Kasoro, I was looking at the program. Kasoro has done it well now because he has said that let the Myoga be constituency based. Initially we had said it should be at the district. But I think when they analyzed it, they said the district was too far, that the constituency was better, that the circle for the different Myoga, for the hair salon people in the constituency, for the food vendors, for this one, should be at the constituency with branches in the parish. That's fantastic. So now, that means the whole population wakes up and get involved in wealth creation. Now, that will now intensify the problem we have now of a lot of coffee, a lot of bananas, a lot of, but then we have got solutions. In the manifesto, you will see the solutions I am putting forward. So therefore, my message on this occasion is please get out of sleeping, all of us. And number two, go to one of the addresses. Stop wasting time talking. You are just you are not impressing anybody, especially me, because I am a former youth. I am here. You are talking to a former youth who started youth activities when I was 14. So what are you telling me? You are telling me what I know very well. But I know how you can be a useful youth, and I have also seen useless ones. I have seen both. Now, On the services there, you have the transport, tourism. When the time comes for that, I had started some groups in Kasese for them to build tourism camps, to have tents, have what. That is also another line. Later on, we can have youth going to climb Mount Renzo, working with the mountaineering clubs. Now, on the side of social services, on the social issues, one of the issues I think the youth should help us with is the issue of school charges, of and I tried to say, but why do you do this? Oh, they say they can afford. But recently, me, I was not convinced, because even when I'm addressing a rally, you see the ones who are a bit fatter in the audience are the ones who say they can afford, the ones who are like Mpaka here. They are the ones who say they can afford. Then the thin ones, no, we cannot afford. So, which is which now? Which is which? And the other time when I made a tour, I said, you resolve this, you tell us, because I don't want to start unnecessary wars. Because it seems some of the groups want to get money from the families. Want to get money from the families, they want to do local business, school feeding, I don't know what, because they want to supply. Now, then so that issue must be resolved. You, the youth, you should take. The other day, I read a document by one of your former youth, Birum Maso, who used to be a member of parliament. He wrote something about something, and I found it seems that some of the families are suffering because of those school fees. So let's resolve it. I don't want double language. These are saying this, the other one are saying the other one, which is which. So therefore, we can say many things about the youth, but my first thing, please engage in wealth creation. Now, I'm very happy to be with my daughter, Malango, from Equatorial Guinea, but forget about Equatorial Guinea, you are now here. So, and our other daughter from Ghana, she's informing us that she's a veranda girl. You know, when Nkrumah formed his party, the Convention People's Party, CPP, it was joined by those people there, the smaller people, the smaller people in the town. And then the other rich people formed another party, which was against Nkrumah. So she's telling us that she's one of they were called veranda boys. Boys who, I think, who had no houses, or they were staying in the verandas or something like that. So she's saying that she's a veranda girl, and she's very proud that she came up. So I thank you so much for the program. Thank you so much, and these people should give you a clap. Now, I'm also surprised to see Stanbic Bank here, because, you know, in Christianity, I think even in Islam, they say that when you repent your sins, there's a chance you may go to heaven. This Stanbic Bank, they specialize in overcharging people. Interest, 20%, I don't know what. So now I am supposed to see our daughter here. I had not seen her. We talked on the phone the other time. So I'm happy to see you here. So what are you doing here? Are you coming as a Christian or as what? So you want to, because really 20%, who can pay 20%? Why? So you come and tell me how you have repented. Come, let me hear what you are saying. Go to the microphone.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for this opportunity. I am very pleased to be here. I wanted to set the record straight that our purpose as Stanbic Bank, we say that Uganda is our home and we drive her growth. Part of that is working with partners to solve Uganda's problems. And this is one of the reasons that we say that the solutions to Uganda's problems lie within us. And this is why we are choosing to partner with the UNDP to be able to provide a solution to the youth. And the solution is 3 ways. I feel like I'm in an exam. The first one is creating a platform where the youth with ideas, because the Ugandan youth have ideas and they're willing to work. They just haven't been given a platform. So creating a platform for the youth with ideas to come and express those ideas. That's number 1. Number 2, providing capital for the youth to start. The average Ugandan business dies before its 3rd birthday. If that business is a youth business, the lifespan is even shorter. So we have come up as Stanbic Bank to create capacity and skills for these youth. So what we are going to do, we have set up an incubator farm where we train these youth and Ugandan-owned businesses with good governance, business skills, and even technical skills so that they can compete. And the third, which is also very important, Your Excellency, is we are providing funding at a lower rate. I'm pleased to report that our prime lending rate as Stanbic Bank is 16%. However, for this youth initiative, that rate comes down lower. We are going to lend to this initiative low at 14%. So that is the... I was hoping you would clap for me. So it is still... Really? Even 14%?
You come and sit down and give her a cup of tea so that I care about people. 14 is high, please. What you should do, although of course I think you are going to go bankrupt eventually, because your business is to make money from traders who go to China, turn us into a market. But we are not going to stop that because we are going to encourage local manufacture and then block the Chinese imports. Once we make the shoes here, like we are going to, no more shoes. Once we make the carpets, no more carpets. So I think in the end you will go bankrupt, but I wish you good luck. Because you make money by lending to traders, to traders, to traders. So I think for you, you should find a way where you still have your traders now, because they are not yet extinct. Get 18% from them, because they can manage. Somebody who's bringing carpets, even 20% he can afford. But the youth, for you to pray for you that you go, for me to pray for you that you go to heaven. When you reach 12%, then I will say, you forgive my daughter, what she did in the past. with the South Africans, because that was our bank, which I gave them. It is Uganda Commercial Bank. I gave it to them thinking that they will run it better, they will, now they are, so I forgave you, I forgot about you and Katonda Jari, so thank you very much, people, congratulations on your day. I want to congratulate the Lilian Abel group for their good service. Stand up and they see you, the Lilian Abel group. There they are. The other girl from Bukunja, she's. All these fellows, I know them, all of them. Thank you. What happened to the Toro Mukonjo? Huh? Oh, he's in the youth league. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. We just beg a minute of your time. You just witnessed the two cows representing the other districts receiving the checks. Yes, the cows come in front and PS arrange the dummy checks for us. And then thereafter, Your Excellency, you'll sign to launch this innovation program of the UN. Your work, Your Excellency, is to see. Since you can't touch this, you should prove that you have seen and you have witnessed. So this is the Serere, Aroa, our default. This is Serere. This is money we gave to the youth and which money came back and which we are now giving more youth. So, Yala Manoi. Thank you. Then, this is a dummy check from the UN, UNDP. It is going to the successfully appraised and qualifying groups of 147 million, and it's being received by the chairperson of the Youth Council. Thank you, UNDP. And then finally, sir, is to seek your So this goes to Chap Chap. Chap Chap is a digital platform, Your Excellency. I know about them. They're involved in e-commerce innovations. So they will be received by the outgoing, as she said, president of the young people, Madame Abe. Thank you. And finally, sir, to sign on the dummy there, and then we launch the Youth for Business Innovation and Entrepreneurship Facility, which will help mainly the digital innovators. And Madame Abe is requesting for a scientific picture of the Youth Council with Your Excellency.
Can we all rise up to sing? Can we rise up to sing the anthems in reverse order, please? Can we have the anthems in reverse order, please? Tuimarike umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumudunia yetu. Pendo kuja mshikamani, tuwe msingi kwa umoja wetu. Tuamini tushikamane, dunia zetu na desturi zetu, yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumudunia yetu. Wanani wako watamani, tufanye kazi sote na majini, tumizawe kuwana nyani, tuwezeshe jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumudunia yetu. Uganda anthem. Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United we for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land that we do, our love and labor with thee. All our neighbors, all at our country's calling, peace and friendship we live. Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us, by sun and fertile soils grown. For our own dear land we shall always send the call of Africa's crown. Can the National Youth Council proceed for a group photo with His Excellency the President? We thank you so much, Your Excellency, for blessing this function with your personal presence. We thank you, the First Lady, for blessing this function as well with your personal presence.
Wow. Obadde ku BBS telefayine yaffe ey'obwakabaka bwa Buganda nga abavubuka wamu ne President w'eggwanga bali wali Entebbe mu nteekateeka ey'okkuza olunaku lw'abavubuka. Aboogedde babadde bangi okuva edda ku Minisita avunaanyizibwa ku bavubuka n'abaana Oweekitiibwa Nakiwala Kiyingi reporting the President nti ensonga nnyingi ezirimu abavubuka mu kiseera kino ate okuli n'okukwata abakazi wamu n'abawala. Agambye nti emisango egyo egiwerera ddala 4,000 yali nategeeza nti singa bakwatako ojja kuba osibwa mayisa. Enteekateeka embeera yagyogeddeko ate era Minisita avunaanyizibwa ku kitongole ekya gender nategeeza nti abatwala abantu ebweru nabo bataddeko amaanyi okusobola okulaba nti omulimu gusigalawo nga basobola okugenda mu mbeera enteeketeeke obulungi naye ate era n'okuba nti tebayisa bubi bantu baba bagenze embeera eyo ennuŋŋamu nti bagenda n'ogiteekawo okulaba nti n'abo ababayisa obubi ate layisinsi zaabwe bagenda mu maaso n'okuzibajjako. Ayogedde nti waliwo ensimbi nnyingi eziva mu mulimu ogwo n'enteekateeka weeri n'ekitongole ekya IOM okulaba nga gye batalina embassies wakiri wabaawo enteekateeka okusobola nayo okukolerayo obulungi naye nga basobola okufuna obuyambi mu mbeera mbeera eyeetagisa. Agambye nti projekiti ya Youth Livelihood nti yo y'emu ku ezo esobodde okuba nti zikola amakulu nti endala zibadde zigenda naye nga balya ensigo. Bwe kiba nga projekiti nyingi zibadde za kulya nsigo awo nno kirabika badde obugayaavu bungi ne minisita agambye nti eno yo waakiri egezezaako kwe kulaba nga badde bawaayo checks biri ezigenda mu districts ez'enjawulo ezigenda okuba nga zidda eri abavubuka okwongera okubayamba. Abavubuka bagambye nti embeera ebaginyize nnyo ya COVID-19 emirimu gyabwe capital bamulidde abaana okufuna embuto n'ensonga endala nnyingi ezibadde zibatawaanya. Beeyanziza nnyo enteekateeka ya Stanbic Bank wamu n'ekitongole kya UNDP abataddewo okulaba nti abavubuka bagenda kwenyigira mu competinga mu kuyiiya ate basobole okufuna ensimbi ezigenda okubabeezaawo. Ye omukulembeze w'eggwanga atunulidde ensonga ezibadde nnya n'agamba nti ensonga esookera ddala singa abavubuka banaava mu kwebaka ne bagenda mu maaso n'okukola nga beenyigira mu bizinensi naddala mu agriculture okufunamu ensimbi si kukolerera olubuto lwokka wabula okukola nga mufunamu ensimbi okwonna okuteeka n'okwegatta ku bukolero obutonotono okukola ebintu ebyanguwa byosobola okuba nti otandikawo bizinesi obutonotono obwo naye nga bw'amakolero nabo basobola okubayamba okuba nti buwa abavubuka emirimu n'agamba ogenda mu services ate ne ICT. Weewaawo bw'obitunulira ebyo byonna bya muvubuka asomye oba oli awo asobola okuba nga tali mu kyalo eri. Abavubuka bali mu byalo bakyalina embeera nnyingi tannaba kubanga basitula naye mu nteekateeka zonna ezogeddwako babadde tebannaba kubanga bazikonako. Waliwo ebirala ebinyigiddemu nnyo abavubuka be batalina webakonyeeko okugeza bw'otunula ebyemizannyo. Ebyemizannyo bisobola okuwa abavubuka emirimu nnyo n'amaanyi oba basomye oba tebasomye naye nabyo tebalinawe babikondeddeko wano. Ate n'engeri endala ne entertainment basobola okuyimba basobola okuzannya emizannyo n'okukola content nasobola okubeera online naye era ebyo nabyo omukulembeze w'eggwanga wamu n'ababaddeyo tebalina wabyogereddeko. Naye tusubire nti olunaku olwaleero gwabadde alaba terefayina omukisa w'eggulu oyinza okuba ng'olabyewo bagambye banka eno ekendeezeeko kuba omukyala atunyonyodde nti bali ku 16% ne bagenda kuba bagaba ensimbi zino ku 14%. Gwe wekka asobodde okuba nti oba oli awo otandikawo kampani ng'esobola okompitinga oba olina idea ey'enjawulo oyinza okufuna omukisa guno kasita ogenda butereevu ku Ministry Agenda basobola okuwa information eno nosobola okuba nga ogifuna. Terefayina yaffe bwetyo tubadde ku lunaku lw'abavubuka njagala butereevu okuba nti nkuzaayo ate era muno mu programming yaffe tova ku terefayina yaffe ze Morris Mukiibi omugave.
Nange leero sirina maanyi nze nasiibye omubiri mugonvu
oba onoolwala.
Hello.
Tungasaazi.
Owaaye ki ekikukyamudde bwe kityo?
Ono gwe bayita ntungasaazi kyakunywa ekiwonya ennyonta kizzaamu amaanyi kimalako stress n'emigaso emirala mingi.
Leka muwe akake ono ye ntungasaazi drink. Ntungasaazi drink alinyisa n'appetite akolebwamu kitiko omubisi gw'amajaani n'ebirala kyatongozebwa aba UNBS agulibwa 1,000 lwokka atanaweza myaka 18 tonywa. Ntungasaazi akolebwa Emanayera Company Limited gwomusuubuzi kuba ku ssimu ezo. Ntungasaazi alcoholic kombucha.
CBS FM radio yo ekwanjulira enkola ennyangu eya ECBS kirango enkola gy'oweererezaamu ekirango kyo nga tovudde wooli genda mu ssimu yo awaweerezebwa obubaka bwa SMS